what's good, YouTube? Nova here,
and Quasar,
and we're the Chronomaly Kings. Alright, so we're going to be talking about the new booster pack, Fusion Enforcers. Now, this pack is, of course, right after Destiny Soldiers, which I don't really know what Destiny Soldiers had in it anymore. I can't remember. But anyway, so basically, this is the one that's focused on fusion summoning, because we had High Speed Riders, which was Synchros. Then we had Wing Raiders, which was
XZs.
And now we got this one, which is going to be bring you Fusion.
Yeah, I don't know why they released the Destiny Soldiers in between, because fucking have your garbage Destiny heroes, and I think that set was a waste of time. But anyways, we're really looking forward to Fusion Enforcers. So basically, the 3 archetypes coming out are the Fluffles. I jumped Fluffle right for that because that's based around fusion summoning.
Yeah.
And then it introduces the Eidolon Beasts, which I think actually look pretty freaking amazing. And then also the Predator Plants, which is dark plant types, which is also pretty awesome. Because they're dark, you can tech a lot of the cool stuff. They're plants, so like Lone Fire Blossoms, obviously gonna be a 3 of in that deck.
Obviously. So yeah, now right now not much has been shown. I mean, some of the stuff has been shown, but there's definitely not as much stuff. But we're gonna look at kind of we're gonna look at all of the boss cards right now.
And what's basically relevant right now?
So just like we just went through Predator Plants and we checked out all of the monsters that we are known so far, and some of the notable stuff. Predator Planter. This card's okay. It lets you basically special summon a level 4 lower Predator monster from your hand or graveyard. But it's effects negated, of course. This card's an okay card. This card definitely, I think, we'll see play if Predator Plants get some good support. Now, Predator Plant Chimera Rafflesia, I think it is. This card's actually a pretty good fusion. Basically, it can so once per turn you can target one monster whose level is less than or equal to this card's and then banish it. So that effect is friggin' busted.
Yeah, and that's pretty broken.
And then whenever this card declares an attack and there's an attack declared involving this and a face-up monster, that monster loses 1,000 attack and this card gains 1,000 attack.
So it becomes 35, and basically, if your opponent had like a 4,000 attack point monster, that goes down to 3,000. This guy goes up to 3,500, and you're just ramming over it and dealing 500 damage still. So that's insane.
But the only problem is, and then this card basically these changes last until the end of the turn, of course. Or whatever. Then once per turn during the standby phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there last standby phase, you can add 1 polymerization card. Now, first off, right now, there's no card that lets you send this card to the graveyard during your standby phase.
So we're probably going to be seeing something like that.
Yeah, we're going to probably get some effects that allow this card to die during the standby phase. And then next up, the monsters aren't too noticeable right now. I mean, there's a small combo loop with them, but they're kind of shit still. But anyway, the fusion monsters actually looking pretty scary.
So there's obviously your regular Star Venom, which is actually coming out in Invasion of Vengeance. So you guys are going to want to pick up 3 copies of that. Then, of course, when this set comes out, we have the evolved form Greedy Venom Fusion. So it's a level 10 Dragon Fusion Dark. So it has 3,300 attack and 2,500 defense. So you need a Predator Plant monster, then 1 Dark monster with an original level 8 or higher. So essentially, you're probably going to be using the Star Venom. But I know there are other ways you can actually use your opponent's monsters with the Predator Plants, and then it says original level, because I know with the Predator Plants you're basically putting counters on your opponent's monsters and then reducing their levels. But anyways, the effect must be fusion summoned. Okay, pretty straightforward. Once per turn, target 1 face-up monster on the field. Till the end of this turn, its attack becomes 0. Also, it has its effects negated. Okay, so that's pretty broken. already 0 attack, so you can easily do the 33, and then negate its effect too.
So if it has any effect that would protect it by battle or card effect, it's gonna lose it. Also, if this card is used on like a monster that can gain attack, this card can also negate that and stuff. So this card is gonna be a very deadly card, just for negation in general. And its attack to drop to 0 for this thing to push for 3,300 is pretty scary. Another effect it has that makes this card incredibly insane is if this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, destroy as many monsters on the field as possible. Um, yeah, that's pretty crazy already.
And then you can banish 1 level 8 or higher dark monster from your graveyard. And if you do special summon this card from your graveyard. So you can basically nuke everything after this guy loses. And then you just bring it back after banishing. So he'll probably be the only monster on the field now.
Yeah, so basically he'll be able to. Yeah, well,
like your opponent won't even want to run over it because they'll lose all of their monsters, and then this guy's just gonna be coming right back.
Yeah, so basically what they're gonna want to do with this card is they're gonna want to banish this card, which is probably why you're gonna see. That's probably gonna be the only way out this card, really, unless they already have no board, which is like okay. But the main way but the thing that makes this card crazy is the fact that when this card is destroyed in Sun's graveyard, you just banish.
Destroy. So even if you fusion summon this and the opponent tries to like Solemn Strike this or Solemn Warning this, because it's getting destroyed because of the Solemn card, you're essentially just paying 1,500 life points to blow up your own field, and then this guy still comes back.
I don't know if it works that way, but anyway, I don't know if it negates the summon, and I wouldn't react. But anyway, but still, if that rule is working, that'd be pretty busted, actually.
Yeah, it definitely would, because it's just getting destroyed and sent to the graveyard.
Because technically it's negating on his field summon, and he dies, and then he recognizes that he was destroyed, and then he should summon himself back. That's how it works. But overall, this card actually has a lot of potential. But as far as the deck, like the Predator Plants look right now, they've got some good fusion monsters. You know, you got some good, decent fusion monsters with the Star Venom plus this and this. But unfortunately, the main deck is just not that good right now. Predator Plants are probably one of the better cards right now. This thing is pretty good. With its effect, because this is actually pretty busted. It's basically if you can use a predator counter monster as a fusion material, as a fusion material, and it's treated as a dark monster, and then during your main phase you can fusion one dark fusion monster using monsters from your hand or field, or your opponent controls with a predator counter as that, including this card.
So you don't even need polymerization.
You just drop this card. So, like, the cool thing I found with this was you could just use the fly one. That's when it's that once per turn you could put a predator counter on your opponent's monster. And then you could tribute it with Super Solar Nutrient, drop this guy, and then fusion summon using the opponent's monster. That's about the only way I find that this deck is going to be fast at the current status. But if we look at what's currently out, we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 unknown Predator Plant monsters. So that's actually going to be really good.
Yeah, that'll kind of decide on like how strong this archetype's going to be.
I feel
like there are two other spots.
Other spells, maybe? I'm thinking maybe 2 other spells.
Yeah, maybe. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, there might be that much more support for Predator Plants.
And then we're gonna look at the Fluffles. Like, if you guys should already know Fluffles. Like
Fluffles have been out for a while. Yeah. They do have a lot of support already.
They do. But right now, 2 of the new cards, Kraken. Basically, this one's actually really good. In general, he's an any Edgent monster plus any Fluffle monster. So I feel
really
this one
easy to summon.
I feel this one's a little bit easier than most Fluffle monsters because he's just any Edgent monster. He's not like Tiger or Sabers where it needs the certain Edgent monster. He's more generic. Plus, he has the effect of once per turn you can target one monster you control and send it to the graveyard. Now, this isn't destroy. This isn't anything. This is just send it. So this is a pretty cool out for things.
Like Chaos Max.
Yeah, actually, this card can out Greedy
Yeah, that's
because
true too.
it doesn't send it because
Well,
it's
it's
not
not being destroyed.
destroyed.
Yeah, exactly. So there's that too, which is pretty freaking amazing. The only drawback is it can't attack your opponent directly. Which, okay, that's kind of fair because you're just basically getting rid of the biggest threat.
But like that's true, and you get rid of the monster that's probably gonna be. You probably bring this out to out the monster that you're gonna have the biggest problem with, and then he kind of sits there.
Yeah, and then the fact that this guy gets to make a second attack during each battle phase is pretty nuts.
Yeah, so 2 attacks is pretty good.
If you do activate that effect, unfortunately, you can't attack directly. But if you don't even need to use that effect, you can attack directly twice for 44.
Which is pretty insane. And also at the end of the banish step, basically he has a Dante effect where he switches his self to defense position.
And he's a 3k
Now this the
defensive
cool.
wall.
I like the cool effect of this is the effect at the end of the battle phase, not just at the end of a battle.
Yeah.
And the effect only goes off if it did a battle.
Yeah.
So I think I think if you attack directly twice, he's not gonna change to defense position.
Yeah, because
Because
it's not
he didn't
battle,
he
it's
didn't
just
technically
direct
battle.
damage.
So that's kind of cool, but of course, like this card overall is crazy. Like if you play it with sabers, like literally summon, tribute, use it, bring it back with Sabertooth, send 2, and then Sabertooth bumps this card's attack up.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Next up, the only other new card. Nah, this is old.
Was Octo?
It was Octo. These are the only 2 new cards right now. Basically, when this card is normal or special summon, you can target one Fluffle or Edgent monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Now, this card's actually kind of cool.
Bad.
He kind of, in a sense, he's like, okay, you know what? I need an extra fusion material. I'll summon him and I'll grab it back to my hand. That, in effect, is actually a pretty cool effect. But now, his other effect, though, is what makes him really good.
This card is sent to the graveyard as fusion material for the fusion summon of a Frightfur fusion monster. Target up to 2 of your banished monsters and then return them to the graveyard. Then you can only use that effect once per turn.
Now this effect is really good because if you're using Fluffle Wings, you're going to be banishing him and another Fluffle monster from your graveyard to be able to get a plus draw 3 in a search. Usually, if that's how the engine works, usually.
Yeah.
But also with Frightfur Fusion, you can banish monsters from your graveyard as fusion materials. And the fact that Octo can put 2 of those banished fusion monsters or banished monsters back into your graveyard means you can consistently keep using Fluffle Frightfur Fusion and just keep using the same monsters as materials.
Yeah, exactly.
So overall, I feel this card will see a lot of play. Maybe I'm thinking like I know when I'm gonna build a deck, I'm probably gonna play this card at 2. Probably won't play it more. Because, I mean, the whole normal summon or special summon target in your graveyard can be a little bit inconsistent. You kind of want to see this card mid to late game.
Yeah, exactly.
So the less you have, I think the better it'll be. But overall, Octo and Kraken are the only 2 new Frightfur things, Frightfur cards and Fluffle that we have so far. But of course, there's lots of
those
new
reprints
stuff.
too, such as Sabers.
Yeah,
Frightfur Fusion, of course, which is really good. So this set will probably have pretty much everything you're gonna need in order to
build Fluffles.
Build Fluffles.
Of course, if you are looking for the hollow version of Fluffles, you probably want to get them singly for the most hollow if you want the hollow.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have to wait and see what they decide to do. If it's gonna be one of these with like they did with all the other ones, where it was 1 secret, 1 ultra, 1 super, or something like that, or 2 supers or 2 ultras and a super, and a couple supers. But we'll have to find out.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Okay, so for the last archetype we have like the Eidolon archetype. I don't even know if it's gonna stay that way. They might even change the name for the TCG. Like, this was just released not too long ago, and we only have like a couple of monsters and their own fusion spell card. So that's really good. So we can take a look at this main monster. So he's a dark spellcaster, level 4, 1000 attack, 1800 defense. So during either player's turn, send this card from your hand to the graveyard, then target one fusion monster you control, and it gains 1000 attack and defense until the end of the turn. Alright, so that's not bad. You can kind of use it as like a hand trap if your opponent were to like attack into your fusion monster, or if you're about to attack with your fusion monster and you just want to, pump it up a little more, just discard it, and then it
Yeah.
gains the 1000, and you can essentially ram over pretty much anything because
Or you discard,
plus 1000.
3 copies of this, and it's an extra 3,000.
Yeah, if you end up with all 3 copies in your hand, then yeah, that'd be pretty insane. And then if this card is normal summoned or flipped face up, you can add the Eidolon Summoning Magic, which is the spell card, from your deck to your hand.
Overall, this card actually looks like for the first monster shown. This is definitely a good start for the deck. Just the whole the discard effect isn't that good, but it is a pretty nice effect in general. And the whole normal summon or flip face up, the normal summon is good. The flip face up can be slow, but the normal summon there is also nice. And just to search for a spell or the fusion spell, it's very nice.
Yeah, you can essentially just normal summon it, add the fusion spell, and then just use that fusion spell right away.
Let's check out the fusion spell first. So basically, it's gonna be this Eldion.
I actually really like the artwork for that too. I think it looks pretty sweet.
So it'll be this Eldion summoning magic. So basically, it's a normal spell. That's fusion summon one fusion monster from X deck using monsters from your hand as fusion material. And then if you're using it
to summon one of the Eidolon Beasts fusion monsters, you can also banish from your field, your graveyard, or your opponent's graveyard.
Yeah.
So that's actually really insane. So if your opponent has monsters, you can use as fusion materials. You can banish them, making it a lot harder for them to use their monsters in their graveyard. And you just essentially plus because you're getting rid of their monsters, you're dropping a monster that you need for the fusion summon.
Now, also, this card if this card is in your graveyard, you can target one of your banished Alistair, the summoner, shuffle it from your banished zone, and you get to shuffle it back into your deck. And if you add that you shuffle this card, my mistake, into the deck, and then you add that monster to your hand.
Back to your hand.
So now it's like add this card back to your hand, and then add this card back, and now you can fusion summon again on your next turn. Wow.
Yeah, so essentially you're going to normal summon this. This gets added to your hand. You can activate this in order to banish this guy. Then after your fusion summon, this card goes to the grave. Shuffle this card back into the deck, and then because this was banished by using it, you just get it right back to your hand. And you can just continue to use that as like a small loop.
So you're always going to be able to fusion summon with this loop if you are able to use monsters you're in either player's graveyard as a material, which probably isn't going to be that hard when we look at it. But overall, this spell is actually really cool. Definitely going to be a very good card for most decks.
I know both of those cards would definitely be played at 3 in a deck like this.
Yeah.
We can go back and check out the fusion monsters now. So this is the first fusion that got revealed. Raideen, the Eidolon Beast. If it ever loads.
Nah, it's coming. Okay, cool. So basically he's a wind, 2,200 attack, level 5. So basically he needs Alistair and then one wind monster. So, okay, just from this, we can assume we're going to get an Eldion Summoner that's going to be a wind attribute monster. We can assume that already. So definitely, that's obviously going to be an assumption that we have to make.
Yeah.
And his effect is once per turn during either player's turn, you can target one face-up monster on the field and change its face down to defense position.
So it's a Book of Moon, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Overall, I mean, okay. Don't get me wrong. His 200 attack plus the Book of Moon effect is pretty nice, but I think something that would make this card cooler is if that wind monster has an effect that gives this card piercing damage.
Yeah.
That if this monster is used as a fusion material, give the fusion monster piercing. that I think would be a neat effect where you
Yeah.
can switch draw, and then actually you could get actually good versatility out of this card's Bukamoon effect.
Yeah, and at least you can use that effect during either player's turn. So if your opponent wanted
That's
to
true,
activate
too.
a monster effect, you can just Book of Moon that monster.
Or if they're planning to synchro or Xyz, you can do that as well. So
Exactly.
actually, this card isn't as bad as it may seem,
hmm
but it just will depend on what the wind monster does.
Yeah, I'm
I
sure
feel
we're
that
probably going to be getting like one monster of each attribute, so we'll just have to wait and see what other support comes out. And then they revealed probably what's the boss monster of this archetype.
Yeah,
Obviously, because it's secret rare.
obviously, yeah.
So this is Elysion, the Eldion Beast, level 10 Fairy Light, 3,200 attack, 4,000 defense. So that's a crazy wall for 4,000.
Yeah. Now something to note is its defense is higher, but its attack is 100 less than greedy.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's kind of neat to see how they kind of did that. They made the cards kind of unique to each other.
hmm
But so basically, this card is going to need
An Eldion Beast, and then a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck.
So basically, Eldion Beasts, as we've seen, are gonna be the fusion monsters. So you're gonna be needing to banish with one of the fusion monsters from your graveyard, plus any extra deck monster from either player's graveyard to make this one. So not as difficult as it may seem,
Yeah.
especially with that new fusion spell. It's gonna make this card really easy to pull off.
So obviously this must be fusion summoned with the above fusion materials. That's pretty easy. While face up on the field, this card is also dark, earth, water, fire, and wind. So it's basically every single attribute.
Except for divine.
Yeah, that's true. It's not divine.
That's the only one that's not.
Once per turn, during either player's turn, target one Eldion Beast you control or in your graveyard. Banish that monster, and then if you do, banish all monsters your opponent controls with the same attribute as that monster.
So one of the cool things is, if you kind of banish this card while it's on the field, you get to banish all types of monsters. So no
Yeah.
matter what it is, but you get to banish it from your graveyard as well. Means that with the more fusion material, with the more fusion monsters for these guys, we find.
Yeah.
I feel like when the deck kind of finishes, I'm thinking that it's gonna be 2 to 3 maybe attributes that you're gonna want to use, plus this guy, so you can utilize mostly the banish effect.
Yeah, exactly. And then, well, depending on what deck you're facing, some decks are just one pure attribute. So if you have that attribute in the grave, you're obviously just gonna want to be banishing that, and then you can
Yeah, I could see
go
this
off
card.
from there.
I can see probably 2 copies of this card being in most extra decks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good, but it would really depend on the matchup that this card would go into. So overall, though, we kind of have to wait and see what's gonna be with the with more of these guys, because definitely they have good like setup right now. You know, they have that good monster, they have that great spell card, they got the good recursion with it, they got the nice card here, the nice card here. They just need those extra monsters.
Yeah, and we don't know how much more support there will be because there's like all this room down here. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot more like generic support too. Like we can probably see a polymerization reprint.
Like probably like fusion recovery to bring back stuff like that. There's definitely gonna be some really good stuff coming out in this set. I mean, like literally, like if you want to come, you know, pick up like probably if you want to pick up a new fusion deck or this, or if you just want to build Fluffles / Frightfurs, if you want to build it, like you've been looking at it, but you don't. Definitely, this pack is good. I think this box is good for someone, or for a group of friends. You know, you got 3 friends, and they each want to build an archetype. You know,
Buy 3 boxes. Each of them pays for a box. Everyone opens everything, and then I'm sure out of 3 boxes, you guys can pull everything that everyone needs.
Well, roughly. I mean, of course, like with the secret rares, you might not pull You know, you might not pull 3 greedy, you might not pull 3 kraken, you might not pull 3 of this guy, but I don't think they're gonna be super expensive because these Wing Raider sets, unless like you're haven't sorry haven't really been that expensive when it comes down to it.
Yeah. Basically, the only thing was high speed riders when Omega came out. That shit was expensive, and it just stayed expensive.
And Break Sword.
And Break Sword too.
Those were the only really expensive cards. I mean, like Raid Raptor, Force Strix was expensive, but because you could play it in many different decks, it made it expensive. So overall, though, I mean, these sets are really deck specific. Like Greedy's deck specific, Kraken's deck specific. This card is deck specific. So I don't expect these decks to be super, super expensive, but I can see them being decent for the pack.
Yeah, definitely worth it to pick up a box with like you and then even a couple of buddies.
Yeah, or if maybe you don't want, maybe right now the Predator plants aren't for you, and you guys want to do like a Frightfur and just the Eldion deck, you guys can just pick up, if you guys want to do a box and a half each, and then take each of what you get from there, and of course you could just sell the Predator plant stuff you need, and then get the rest of this stuff. Definitely, but overall, we're just saying. Fusion Forces definitely is looking like a good set to maybe consider picking up if you're just beginning in the game again, or you just want to pick up a new deck.
Yeah, if you're looking for something new, then yeah, we definitely recommend this pack.
So remember to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Yo,